Thanks for watching Heretostay TV. I'm Glenn Haussman coming at you from the Business Travel Show. And I have with me Paula Cullen with Native. You were Go Native, you've gone Native, now you're just Native. Excellent.
Yeah.
Why the name change?
Well, so hey, that's our big headline reason for being at the show, is to launch our new brand, which we're clearly very excited about. We've dropped the green ball and we're now a nice, sexy black and white Native.
Yep.
So yeah, just a really exciting time for us. We probably not dissimilar to a lot of companies went through a bit of a crazy rebranding session with a fantastic company that brought us full circle round back to almost where we started and to the essence of our brand, which is, you know, living like a local, being in your local neighbourhood and being native. So we decided to keep that bit, but funk it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like that. I thought you almost said something else.
No,
All right, so we're going to funk it up a little bit with Native. So it sounds to me, with the whole brand redesign, you're trying to be better reflective to meet the maturation and all the changes that have happened within the service apartment sector.
And I think, you know, when I spoke with you last year, and how time flies.
I know.
But I was relatively new into the sector and I found it quite amazing, the collaboration that goes on, and in particular we focused on our partnership with Bridge Street, which is as strong as it ever was, and we're moving it and migrating it more and more online and meeting with the new demographics and needs of the travellers that we deal with. So we're really excited about that. But I think one of the key things about this sector is bizarrely, it still feels like it's in its infancy. It's experiencing tremendous growth.
It is in its infancy, but it's also coming to its own simultaneously. So it's kind of like this duality, I think, that's happening. More people understand it, more people get it, more people want to experience what companies like yours have to offer. So I like that whole idea of everybody working together. You know, to me, that's like a real big thing. You know, if we could all get together, I feel like it's, instead of us all going this far, we'll all get this far.
And I think, again, you know, Bridge Street being a really key partner of ours, we've seen some fantastic things that they've done with their brand family, and you know, segmenting that and targeting it towards particular types of travellers. The native piece is very similar, and I think the more of us in our industry, the more of us that really invest in our brand and our brand values and share those with the wider travel community, the more success the whole apartment style living will have.
Well, because everybody needs to understand what the sector is for all of you to maximize your ability to succeed. So, you know, I've spent 20 years in the general hotel sector, and I too, last year, was just coming into this business, and I kind of feel like we're following a little parallel path in that sense, right? So for me, I'm excited to have seen how far it's come in just 1 year, but my reference to the hotel business is everybody is kind of on the same team, although they're fiercely competing against each other.
I think what we're all trying to bring to the market, I think our sector was deemed as a very corporate long stay option for many, many years. And what's happening now, I think the ever growing success of Airbnb is there's a voice of a traveller that says, I want a different way to stay and live when I'm on business or leisure. And I think, you know, brands like ourselves and Bridge Street and some of our other partners that we all work with, we're a very collaborative little sector. We're all maximising that and working it together, but clearly protecting our own spaces.
Of course, because we all have to do that, and by we I mean everyone in the sector. I just comment on everything. But Paula, so what is your brand's specific point of view? What is your customer target, and maybe how does it differ from the other players that are out there?
Our whole ethos is the piece around living like a local. So we don't want to box ourselves into a particular type and style and demographic. What we're trying to build is a product that Monday to Thursday fits for you if you are that way inclined as a traveller. I would say maybe people do, but you can't walk through the reception of a hotel with a Chinese takeaway.
Right.
So there's a whole new style of business traveller that wants a bit more space and freedom and flexibility. But it's also a fantastic leisure product that works brilliantly for families and weekend stays. And so I think it's not boxing ourselves in and making sure that we listen to an incredibly broad customer base.
Right. Yeah, and I see this as really the whole idea of bleisure taking off, blending of the business and the leisure stay. In fact, Travel Weekly said that in 2016 it was up 15%. 2014 it was also up like 15-16%. Final numbers aren't in for 2017 yet, but this tells me that people are experiencing travel differently, and that whole notion of being able to enjoy that community is quintessentially important to everybody that's traveling now.
And I think there is a whole piece around, you know, maybe that's where you are for the week, but maybe friends and family come and join you in your leisure space at the weekend. And I think the difference in apartments and apart hotels is you actually can have a really nice meal sat round a table, which you know you don't have to go out for. And I think it works just targeting so many different types of people.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I'm staying in a service apartment this week, and
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, and my family is off from school in the United States. We have winter recess, so brought the whole crew over, and it's great to see how I'm merging that living like a local in London with my business life while they can live the tourism life. And to me, it's just the perfect combination.
And our real big news, so aside from the rebrand, is this year, 2018, sees our first toe out of the London water and into the region. So we opened Glasgow and Manchester. So again, really exciting times for us that we have enough, and Bridge Street are partners and we work with them in destinations across the UK. But I think for us it shows that real confidence that this is a new way to stay, and we're maximizing.
Why those two markets in particular did you move into?
We found we're a very building-led business. So our portfolio is incredibly diverse and unique and quirky, and no two are the same. So we have, you know, beautiful slick tower block in Canary Wharf, and then we have some fantastic little news buildings around the city. We like to, wherever we are, embrace that culture. So for us, it's quite difficult finding new locations. We've got to be driven by corporate demand, clearly, but it is all about the building. So these are two. Glasgow's a fantastic Art Deco building that was the old headquarters of the Anchor Line shipping company. So it's absolutely stunning, and we like this idea of sort of reimagining the building and being sensitive to its history. Really lovely story. One of the windows that we made, clearly the ones that were in there were very old and needed replacing, but we've used the same company, family-oriented business, 100 years later to rebuild the windows. Wow. So there's some really beautiful building stories as well.
And I would say I love the idea of adaptive reuse, because it connects you in a very special and unique way to that community in a lot of ways a new build can't. Not to say anything bad about new builds, but it's usually more modern architecture as opposed to having the nods to the history of that particular location.
And I think for us it's about having that mix. You know, we again bringing back a beautiful old warehouse in Manchester that has, you know, windowsills that are that deep, brick, and so there's that. But clearly we also do embrace new builds as well, and we've opened a fab new building at the back end of last year in Dalston. So, you know, just it's all about the building and the neighbourhood and the locality. So.
Excellent. Anything else that you wanna add right now? I feel like we have a pretty good story here already.
Well, hey, we're having a good time. I've got a whole other day to do at the show, so I'm glad you caught me on day one because.
Speaking of the business travel show, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. What do you think of the vibe here? What do you think of the crowds here?
I am hugely impressed. We've had a super day every time. I've been on the Bridge Street stand today, so have they, which is amazing. I think just lots of buzz, lots of interest. It feels like the the market's quite positive and buoyant, which is fabulous to see.
And me, I found it to be absolutely packed here throughout the day. Very hard to move around, which is great for everyone.
Very long queue for the ladies.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing for the men's room, but you know, I'm not classy enough to even bring it up. But Paula, thank you so much. It was great having you here today.
Thanks.
So for Paula Cullen and myself, Native is the name. Thanks for watching Here to Stay TV.